Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. I've gotten a few requests, today from a lot of our subscribers for coming in and requesting us to speak on Anthony Joshua, or speak on the LDBC and, boxing, bias, ego. And because these guys are being ridiculous, so, we have to fulfill all requests. So let's just dig right into it. Anthony Joshua, did a media tour, and basically his media tour in the U.S. is going over. Has been a huge success. He's very personable, likable, approachable, showcasing that he's more than just a boxer. He can carry a conversation, doesn't sound punch drunk, very articulate, intelligent young man. But if we're being honest and unbiased about the conversations that we're having all these biased conversations with all this propaganda put up by the LDBC, who are nothing but Deontay Wilder fanboys, by Boxing Bias Ego, who is nothing but a Deontay Wilder fanboy. And if you look at these fanboy channels, they're pushing narratives against Anthony Joshua. And what's the narratives against Anthony Joshua? They're basically saying that everything Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn does and says are all lies, not factual, and they pretty much show an inherent bias against, Anthony Joshua for Deontay Wilder. They try to bash him every moment that they can. And so let's start picking apart their arguments. So the first thing, and we're going to touch on, is Boxing Ego. And the first thing that we touch on with Boxing Ego is that he says that he's fighting Jarrell Miller, but you're calling out Luis Ortiz. So why call out Luis Ortiz and you're fighting Jarrell Miller? So let's just break that down. First of all, the fact that Anthony Joshua is fighting Jarrell Miller, that's actually a better fight than Luis Ortiz for your introductory fight into the American market. So this goes to show you that, this is why he's boxing bias ego, because he's ignorant to all of the facts, and he's fanboying for guys because he thinks that, Luis Ortiz may or may not give him a good fight. That's irrelevant. That's beside the point. The point is that Anthony Joshua is not avoiding Luis Ortiz in any shape, form, or fashion. Period. And so let's just break it down. Anthony Joshua attempted to get the fight with Deontay Wilder. He didn't want it. Reached out to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury seemed interested. Then Fury went away, and we all know why Tyson Fury went away from the offer, because he signed with Top Rank. And that pretty much ended all of that. And so now Anthony Joshua was trying to hammer out a deal with Dillian White. The financials didn't add up, similar to the Fury, similar to the Wilder fight, and he had to move on. Jarrell Miller is a stable opponent with Matchroom Boxing and DAZN, making that fight extremely easy to make. But the fact that Big Baby Jarrell Miller is still a top 10 ranked boxer in the heavyweight division is something that you have to take in consideration. Anthony Joshua has unified titles. He can never be considered a cherry picker because he's unified titles. He's went after the fights with the best fighters in the division and was pretty much turned down and balked at each and every time he did, and he's the A side. Could you imagine if guys were turning down fights against Canelo Alvarez? That's insanity. Anthony Joshua are offering these guys career high paydays, and these guys are fighting tooth and nail to try to get the biggest payday they can, making outrageous demands so they can try to save face when they don't take the fight. This is extremely biased, and so guys like Boxing Bias Ego, who report otherwise, to try to make it look like, you say you want Ortiz, but you're fighting Jarrell Miller. What sense does that make? Clearly, we know what happened, and we know why that fight was made. Luis Ortiz already had a fight while Anthony Joshua was negotiating his fights. So what sense would that make when Luis Ortiz had a fight booked? Makes no sense. Then, on the other hand, you have these LDBC fanboy channels that come out here and state all this ridiculous nonsense, and I swear these guys get dumber by the day. The first thing that you have is, these guys, 78 Sports Garbage TV, basically coming out making all these ridiculous statements about Anthony Joshua being a coward, Anthony Joshua being a bum, no one respecting Anthony Joshua in America. None of that is true. Most American fans are taken to Anthony Joshua, and not only that, if you look at everything, these guys are just inherent haters. These are the same guys who never came out with the retraction video or showed the actual facts. The fact that Tyson Fury completely boxed off Deontay Wilder's face. These guys ignore those facts. These guys ignore what's the reality of a situation, and they pander to their audience all this regurgitated fanboy garbage. And this garbage is the same thing as pushing a narrative saying that all PBC fighters are the best fighters and anybody outside of the PBC is garbage. And we all know that's not the case, because as these PBC fighters keep getting exposed, the Charlo brothers, Deontay Wilder, you look at these guys and you wonder who's pushing this narrative, and it's these same fanboy boxing channels. But once again, Unbiased, as always, is the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.